I almost didn't recognize it. The new ball, the one they'll be using at the World Cup, was right there in front of me. And for a second, I had no idea what I was looking at. The football in my memory is black and white. A round thing stitched out of little shapes. Pentagons, hexagons, a web of seams holding it all into a sphere. That's the ball. That's the one I grew up with. The shape you'd draw if I handed you a pencil and said, "Football." This one had almost no seams at all. Smooth, sealed, strange. More like something that had landed than something that had been sewn. I knew it was a football. I just couldn't feel that it was one. Knowing and recognizing it turned out were two different things, standing a little apart from each other. And I wanted to know what had happened, in the gap between them. So let me start where I started. The first time I met a football, I tried to bounce it. I picked it up in both hands and pushed it down at the ground, the way you'd start a game of basketball. I was small. The ground was concrete, and the ball just stopped. No spring, no soft return up to meet my hands. Just a hard, flat thud and a sting that ran straight back up through my wrists. It hurt. I remember being genuinely surprised by how much it hurt, that a ball, of all the gentle-looking things in the world, could be that unforgiving. One of the older kids set me straight. "That's a football," they said. "You don't bounce it, you use your feet." And then they were gone, a whole knot of them already chasing it across the concrete. So I went too, after them, after it. Not because I understood a single rule of the game, but because everyone was running and the ball was rolling away. And somehow, that was reason enough. That turned out to be the part I understood first and best. The chasing. Here's something I only worked out much later. That black and white ball in my memory, the classic one, the one you just pictured, it wasn't timeless. It had a birthday, 1970. It even had a name, the Telstar, and it was designed. The black and white pattern wasn't an aesthetic choice or a tradition handed down from somewhere ancient. It was there so you could see it. Televisions back then were black and white, and a plain, pale ball got lost on the screen, a smudge skidding across a grey field. There and then not. So they gave it black panels and white panels, high contrast, easy for the eye to lock onto and follow. The ball was patterned for the camera before it was ever patterned for us. I used to count the panels. Not because anyone asked. Just one of those things a kid does, lying on the floor, with the ball turned slowly over in both hands. 32 pieces, 12 of them black with 5 sides each, 20 white with 6. I'd lose my place halfway round and have to start again, a finger moving seam to seam, until the number finally sat still, and I believed it. So the ball I think of as the pure one, the real one, the original, was already, quietly, a piece of technology. I just couldn't see the technology in it. To me, it was simply the ball. Go back a little further, and it stops being a clean, geometric thing at all. It's leather, stitched leather, panels of hide laced together by hand, and laces you could feel when you headed it wrong, and leather drinks. On a dry day, it behaved itself. But in the rain, it soaked the water up, and the longer the match wore on, the heavier it got. And the heavier it got, the harder it turned. Less a ball now than a cold, swollen weight that happened to be round. People who grew up with those balls talk about heading them in the rain, the way you'd talk about a small accident. You'd jump. You'd meet it with your forehead the way you always had. And the ball that met you back was not the ball you'd kicked off with an hour ago. It had taken on pounds of rainwater since the whistle. It arrived heavier than you'd braced for, and it let you know. The ball, back then, had a body. It tired in its way. It changed with the weather. It could hurt you. Not as a punishment, just as a plain fact of its own weight. Keep going back and the ball gives up even that. Before the leather, before the stitching, it was simply whatever could be made round. An animal's bladder blown up and tied off. A bundle of rags. Cloth wadded together and bound with cord. Something, almost anything, gathered into roughly a sphere, so it would roll when you shoved it and come back when you chased it. And people chased it. For thousands of years, in one form or another, somewhere there was a person running after a round thing, for no better reason than that it was rolling away from them. That's the ball, stripped all the way down. Not the geometry, not the leather, not the cleverness. Just a thing to chase. The dumbest object on the field, and the most silent. It saw nothing. It knew nothing. It settled nothing. It rolled, and it left all the noise to us. The shouting, the certainty, the endless arguing about what had just happened. The ball never had an opinion. The ball never even knew it was in a game. Now come back with me, to the one I almost didn't recognize. It is the opposite of that bladder. The opposite of that bundle of rags. It's built from 4 panels. 4. The fewest any World Cup ball has ever had. That's where the strange smoothness comes from, the missing seams that threw me. And inside, it is doing something no rolling rag could ever do. It is paying attention. 500 times a second, it measures itself. 500 readings in every single second. Where it is in the air, how fast it's traveling, how it's spinning. The exact instant a foot or a head or a hand touches it. The ball that for thousands of years knew nothing now knows more or less everything that happens to it. And here is the detail I keep turning over. To make it think, they had to set a small chip inside one of those 4 panels, off to one side, not at the center, which throws the whole thing out of balance. A ball that's heavier on one side wobbles in the air. It won't fly true. So into the other 3 panels they fitted tiny counterweights, just enough to cancel the chip out. They gave the clever ball its balance back. They had, in the end, to teach a thinking ball how to fly like a stupid one again. They call it the trionder. And for the first time in all those thousands of years, the ball can testify to what happened to it. Now, let me say this plainly, because it's true. That's good. Think of everything that used to slip through. The offside that was offside by a hair, given or waved away on a linesman's flinching half-guess. The handball nobody upfield could see. The goal that should have stood. The goal that never should have. For as long as there's been football, some part of what decided a match was simply error. Honest, human, unfixable error. This ball closes a lot of that. It can tell you the exact thousandth of a second the pass left the foot, so the offside line becomes a fact instead of a feeling. It can catch the brush of a hand nobody else caught. It doesn't make the call. It isn't the referee. It just feeds the officials watching the replay, the VAR, a clean record of what actually took place. There's a goal from decades ago, famous, the kind anyone of a certain age can still argue about, where the whole question was, hand or head. It only stayed an argument because the ball couldn't say. This ball could. This ball would. It would have known in 0.002 of a second, and it would never have let a single person forget. But here is the part that catches a little. Somewhere under the ribs. For all those years, every bit of that, the touch, the line, the did it or didn't it, lived in us. It lived in the players who swore blind they were level. in the crowd that rose as one body and groaned as one body, in you, up on your feet in the living room, shouting at the television, at a ball that could not hear you and was never going to answer. The ball never testified. That was the whole arrangement. The ball rolled, and we argued, and the argument was ours, messy and unfair and completely stubbornly human. What we've gained is fairness, real fairness, and I wouldn't trade it back. But what we've handed over in exchange is the ball's not knowing, that small silence that used to sit right at the center of the game. We finally taught the ball to speak. And the first thing it cost us was the thing it had never, in thousands of years, been able to say. I told you I went after that ball, the first day, across the concrete. What I didn't tell you is that I fell. Somewhere in the chasing, my feet got ahead of me, and the ground came up, the same hard concrete that had already stung my hands earlier that afternoon. And the people who were there will tell you, still tell me, that I was a child who cried when I fell. That was simply the rule with me. Down, then tears. Not that day. That day I got up and I went after the ball again. I don't have a clean reason to give you. I wasn't being brave about it. I was 3, or close to it. The ball was rolling away, and getting up and going after it mattered more right then than the fact that I had just hit the ground. This new ball would have caught all of it, the exact spot I fell. The speed it was still rolling. The precise moment, later, that my foot finally reached it. 500 readings a second, every one of them true. It just wouldn't have known the one thing that afternoon was actually about. Why a kid who usually cried after falling didn't cry at that. Why the falling didn't count and the ball did. It still doesn't know. It rolls away and someone gets up and goes after it.